So your kid is being potty trained?
She is already potty trained during the daytime, but did you know it's a lot harder to do the nighttime?
Wait, do children go to the bathroom at night?
Yes, that's why they wear a diaper at night.
Oh, they pee themselves, but they're not like because like I go to the bathroom in the middle of the day, but that in the middle of the night, but that's like a new adult thing.
No. So that's actually a little bit what you do with a kid. So the way we have approached it, we did the daytime training first, and now we are teaching her to hold it throughout the night. But that's like a long time. You know, this kid sleeps 13 hours a night. So it's like,
what a queen.
But that means that, like, you know, she's not going to be able to hold it that long. So we're actually teaching her to, like, get up and go to the bathroom. You know, it's kind of like having a roommate all of a sudden. Like, we want her to, in the middle of the night, wake up, go to the potty, do business, cough really loud. You know, classic old roommate stuff.
Wait, why? Wait.
You want her to do bathroom. You want her to do bathroom breaks.
But why to cough?
No, I was just making a joke.
Oh God,
See,
I'm kind of dumb today.
On a podcast where we're occasionally trying to make each other laugh, I like to throw an attempt at a joke to make you laugh.
Oh yeah, it was just like a failure on your end.
And I see that I failed.
But you know what? You know what? At least we are not Meghan Markle.
What does that have to do with anything?
Kris and Joanna are close friends with nothing in common. To start a weekly conversation, they ask, "Can I have a word?"
I'm obsessed with the Meghan Markle.
What did Meghan Markle
drama.
do these days? I don't know any of the new drama.
She dropped a new Netflix series, and I'm basing an opinion on 3 clips I've seen. So
okay, wonderful, astute Hollywood reporter, sign us up.
Oh, and an Economist article. I'm obsessed with how out of touch this person is. I think she genuinely thinks she's doing good and helping people with her little tips and tricks. But like from the clips I've seen, it's someone with zero sense of self-awareness. So she's like the least funny person in the world. And it's like cringeworthy. It's cringeworthy. Cringe, I can't say it. Cringe wacky. I'm like that male
worthy.
I'm like that MailChimp ad. I'm Mel Crimp.
Okay. A podcast reference from 10 years ago, Joanna.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Meghan Markle out of touch, news at 11.
I'm obsessed with it. If anyone else feels the same way, please leave your comments below.
What is the show? I don't think I have.
It's literally her giving tips to people on how to live, how to take normal things in your life and make them extraordinary. So she'll be like, I know being a working parent is hard, but sometimes sprinkle a little rose petals on your fruit in the morning. Make breakfast fun. And I'm like, what is work for you? Like, what is a Meghan Markle? Oh, and then she also says her name isn't Meghan Markle. It's Meghan Sussex. You know?
Fascinating.
If you ever meet her in person, don't call her Meghan Markle. She'll get angry and then laugh it off as if it doesn't bother her.
It's riveting in that I'll never watch it because that sounds boring as hell.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm going to hate watch it, I think.
You know, you got me watching The Traitors, by the way.
What?
I'm completely up to date on The Traitors, what happens on The Traitors. It's a very good show. It's a very good game, which is why I enjoy it. It's a very good game.
Because you were like, I don't want to watch it. I'm a good editor. I don't like watching reality TV because of all of that sound effects and the editing. Bleh.
The editing is really hard for me to handle.
Really?
It's like, yeah, you know, it's also like I pay for no commercials, and yet I still have all of the worst part of reality shows, which is the dramatic cutoff to a commercial followed by 15 seconds of rewatching the same shit you just watched before.
Yeah, it's painful, but it's a good strategy game.
On occasion, you and I should watch something together where I just get to unfiltered comment on the poor production and post-production qualities.
I mean, I'm happy to do it with, like, if we're watching The Traitor, I watch it every Thursday.
Yeah, but don't you think I would sort of harsh your vibe of why you're watching it? Don't you just think I harsh the vibe, Joanna?
You harsh the vibe regularly, but I will say this about The Traitors. It's a show that purposefully, in contrast to Meghan Markle, takes itself very seriously and is making fun of the fact that it's taking itself very seriously. There's a self-awareness to it.
Yes, it is an earnest camp. It feels like it's like the first reality show that has said, okay, I see what RuPaul's Drag Race did. Yeah. And now we're going to sprinkle it into ours.
It's interesting because I think it was an article or a podcast, or maybe I made it up in my head, but there's this conversation being had about how reality TV shows like The Bachelor are losing viewership because it's a very old model of a reality show. It's very self-important. It's very edited. You see people like walking and smiling to a flower, and it's like, I would never do that. Why is this? The producer made them do that. This is cringe.
Right.
To something more like Love is Blind, where Love is Blind makes you aware of the camera.
Yeah, so it's there's the staging, and you can feel the remoteness of all the camera work, so it feels much more properly documented.
And not only that, but like the contestants refer to the cameras and the like, in contrast to The Bachelor, it doesn't pretend the cameras aren't there.
In contrast to the Traitors, where I feel like there are cinematic moments of the former fiance of Britney Spears washing his abs in a bath.
But it's so funny. It's like,
ridiculous.
Of course. But that's what it is. They're not like, wow, it would be really, really dramatic. No, they're like, this is hilarious. We're going to have Britney Spears' ex-husband wash his sexy little abs in a bathtub. And I'm on board. I'm on board, baby.
Well, until we convert this show to a Twitch stream live watching Traitors together, it is Can I Have a Word? A show where we take a random word from a random word generator and use it as a prompt for discussion. Are you ready to have a discussion?
Well,
have you ever thought about what we do as a discussion?
I don't know if I'm ready to have a discussion, but what I do have is a question.
Sure.
Sorry, can I parenthesis and say, when was the first time we've done this appropriately? In the order?
Until just now, you just self-congratulated yourself.
End parenthesis. Can I have a word?
Congratulations. You took the softballs I hurl at you every week, and this time you swung the bat.
I swung the bat and I won. What's up? I'm Big Papi, baby. The Red Sox.
All right. Well, this will be a short episode. Hey, the word is pony.
Are you fucking kidding me?
The word is pony.
Well, I just saw that the Oscar winner, what's her, I forgot her name, Oscar winner for Best Female Performance.
Is the actress from Nora?
Yeah. She has a cute little name. Sammy? We're on a first name basis.
Mikey Madison.
Mikey Madison said that her dream is to have enough money to have like a miniature pony rescue. I was like,
a whole rescue. Let me ask you a question. How endangered are the mini ponies?
There's so many mini ponies out there in the wild.
There's so many parents that are gifting them for their daughters and then flushing them down the toilet a week later when they can't handle the upkeep.
Here's what I do think pony does represent for me.
Please.
Pony represents, I think, a level of wealth and success. Like, oh, I got my child a pony. Like this useless, expensive animal that's a smaller version of a real animal. It's like a bonsai. It is a fucking horse bonsai.
It's a horse bonsai. You're just occasionally trimming its hooves to give it a delicate foliage.
It's a horse bonsai.
I mean, that brings me to my first real prompt of separation for you and I. I certainly do not know anybody that ever got a pony as a child, a gift, or as an adult gave a kid a pony.
I think it's not real.
Well, yeah, okay. You also have friends who have helicopters, so I assume your world is a little different than mine.
I think I have a friend whose dad had a horse, but
okay,
but like a pony feels like a storybook plot point that I've never seen in real life. Like,
yeah,
for the amount of times we see ponies in movies and TV, almost like as a representation for like the stepdad who does give, the kid everything that the kid wants, and the dad is, you know what I mean?
When the wife married into wealth on the second try.
Always a pony.
Yeah.
It's like pony is a shorthand for so many things in narratives and stuff. But in real life, I have never seen it.
I've only seen them at like petting zoos and like where you have to be this tall to get a ride with one of them.
Is a pony an accident, or do you plan for a pony?
An accident?
Like is it a genetic accident?
Are you saying ponies are to horses what little people are to humans?
Yeah.
I have no idea. You're Madam Google.
A pony is a small horse breed. It's a breed that is usually under a certain height when fully grown. Ponies are known for being gentle and enduring. Oh my God, my heart. Gentle and enduring.
To be clear, this confirms that a pony is a different species. It's like a different breed.
It's a different species.
Yeah.
But
so not the same analogy.
But fun fact is that the word pony has many different uses in slang. So
okay.
A slang term, pony is a slang term for a small glass of liquor.
I've never once heard someone reference that as a pony.
Or a small beverage bottle.
Okay. What happened?
It's also a slang term for a diminutive chorus girl. And I don't know what a diminutive...
I don't know, but that's a great term.
Diminutive... that sounds like a slur. You're a diminutive chorus girl.
A very small chorus girl. All right.
Is that what... Why do you need a slang term? That feels like that doesn't happen often.
You don't think that occasionally you get a Kristen Chenoweth in chorus?
I mean, okay, well, actually, maybe.
See, I'm working around it.
Wow.
What else can pony mean?
A slang term for the sum of 25 pounds.
What? Now that's antiquated. There's no way that exists anymore.
Probably not, but at a point they'd be like, "How much do you weigh?" "Oh, 5 pony, baby. 5 ponies."
I'm 3 stones and 4 ponies deep.
Yeah, exactly. A slang term for a literal translation or other text used illicitly as an aid in schoolwork or while taking a test. So like una chuleta, as we say in Spanish, which is, what is it when you like cheat and you put the answers in a piece of paper and you hide it?
You put the answers on a piece of paper and you hide it. I don't think there's an actual term for it.
Really? And cheating was so... Okay. Here's like a little cultural difference.
Yeah.
So cheating on tests, I always went to American schools. Like if you cheated on like you cannot cheat on tests. Like it's the worst thing you can do, I think, other than like bringing in drugs to school. You know, you can't cheat. You can't cheat on the SAT.
1, 2, 3, got it.
In Venezuela, I had a lot of friends who went to schools that weren't American schools. Not to say that cheating was allowed. It wasn't allowed, but it was way more socially permitted. Mm-hmm. And it was this cultural difference that I could not wrap my head around. And it all came to a head because I had my ex-boyfriend went to another school and they'd be like, "Yeah, we just cheated off Rachel, who's the smartest girl in class." I'm like, "So you all cheated at the same time from the same test? What the fuck?"
Right. How did you not get caught?
It was SAT time. Mm-hmm. And I was a nerd and I really wanted to get into Brown. So I was like, I need to get a perfect SAT score. Like, oh my God, this is so important to me. And my friend who went to another school, like started like psst, psst at me, right?
Yeah, sure.
While the freaking moderator is walking around.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, 17 through 20. And I'm like,
17
what?
through 20. I've got multiples for you.
Yeah, she's like 17 through 20. What is it? And in my head, I'm like, bitch, they're different tests. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, they're not at all the same.
And I gave her my answers but I'm like, that's not going to help you. That's not. So I was
it's
like,
also like the most abbreviated answer you can give her without drawing attention to yourself.
Yeah. So I was like, ACD. And she kept doing it throughout the SAT to the point where it was a literal like terrorism, mental terrorism. I could not focus. It was so overwhelming. I was so nervous. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. And so that is a pony. So I was a pony. I was a pony there.
You were the pony.
I was a pony.
I've heard someone being a mule. I think any of the other small horse types, I think get used in my lexicon more. Like, I think about donkeys more often than I think about ponies. I think about mules more often than I think about ponies.
Yeah, because they're more in they're working class.
Oh, are you saying that my upbringing entitles me to care more about the blue collar animals?
It's a blue collar animal. You don't see a mule being like paraded around at a little girl's birthday.
This is what I'm into. Clydesdales, camels, elephants. Every culture's working animal.
You don't see a pony lifting weight. But if you go to a small town in Italy that has a bunch of steps, you see a donkey doing all the work.
Yeah. No, you see a pony getting a human, having a human give it a hairbrushing.
Pony is to Meghan Markle what donkey is to Kris Knight.
I didn't mean for this to happen.
It all loops together.
The Meghan Markle stuff in the edit. Did you want a pony as a kid?
I wanted a horse. My dad had a horse growing up.
I see.
Called Platon. This is when I realized my dad grew up wealthy.
I mean, let's give devil's due. If you were a person that lived off the land in a way, it was likely you had horses.
Do you think my grandparents lived off the land?
No, I'm expressing that there are other people besides your like wealthy father's upbringing.
Yes, of course. That's very true. That's very true.
That would have it normalized. But no, okay, so your dad had an accessory horse in his life.
Well, it's very funny because like my dad is very salt of the earth. Like he doesn't like nice car. He doesn't like luxury. He's like so, and I grew up very much like that. So when I started, like when sprinkles of his childhood would like come to fruition in my life, I'd be like, who are you, dude? Like what? Like you had a horse? I have a toy poodle and my mom wants to get rid of it. Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, he had a horse called Platon or Plato because my dad was really into philosophy, and it was my dad's like number one sport was horseback riding. So he took care of this horse. He had like this like friendship with this horse.
Yeah.
So through that, after I watched Horse Whisperer, when I was like 10, I was like, I need a horse, and I told my parents like, I want a horse, and they were like. How do we say this? Absolutely not. Like they were like, you're not going to get a horse. Like,
well, also just think about like the baggage your father brings with that, where it's like, this was a defining part of like how his worth ethic showed up, his compassion towards animals, how he like discovered himself. And you watched a fucking movie and said, I want that too.
Fully. I was like, oh my God, I want to like gallop around. I want to gallop. But yeah, I think horses, and then I'm rewatching The Sopranos, and horses have like symbolism within The Sopranos as well. Like I feel like horses really represent a lot. They are like, you can have them as a pet, but it isn't like the equivalent of a dog or a cat or anything like that. It is more than a pet. It's like it's this like majestic beast.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. There's like a majesty to having a horse, even if you're like using them like to work, like if you are a rancher or something like that, you still have a respect for the horse.
Yeah, you definitely do. And
now, do you think horses have respect for ponies?
I think horses look at ponies and they're like, that's not me.
What the fuck is this thing?
I think they don't process it as like a breed within their own their species. It's so contrasting. You see a majestic horse and you're like, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like the fact that
it's powerful, right? Like it can do something. Like the whole thing about like like you get a dog or a cat, like you like have them housebroken and stuff like that. But otherwise, they just like you learn to all coexist. But a horse you tame.
You tame a luxury vehicle. You don't say, oh, it goes 50 pit bulls. You say, oh, like horse 50 horsepower. 50 horsepower. I don't know how horsepower works. Horsepower. There's like there's a
horsepower is the wildest measurement unit.
I have no idea. Is it energy?
Yeah, it has to do with like my father will roll his eyes if you ever heard me explain this, but like it's just a measurement for how much power output comes from the engine that equates to the amount of speed that you can get from a horse. So it's not like a direct one-to-one. Like a horse can run, I don't know, 30, 40 miles an hour maybe. And like that doesn't mean that the 40 horsepower means it can go 4,000 miles, but it has to do with like the amount of power the engine puts out, and they equate that in horse terms for some reason.
Isn't it so funny that one day someone was like, oh, we got to make a mechanical horse, and then they made a car. Like a horseless carriage was like the definition of what a car was first. Like transportation was limited to bicycles and fucking horses and boats. Like that was it. Yeah. Like on land, you were really limited. And the most powerful thing you could have is a horse.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how we've evolved the horse. It was wild, then it was tame, then it was transportation, and now it's like the fanciest animal you could have.
It went from like, boy, I hope this horse can work the plow for me, to now being like, oh, I hope I can afford the horse's rent.
Yeah. The horse needs its house, and I need its stables.
It needs its special food. I mean, this can be equated to like all fancy animals, right? Like, how much do I spend on these animals? I have a dog and a cat in the house, and we probably spend like $200 a month on their food.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a lot of money on food for animals.
Maybe it's not that much, but like it's also no. It probably is. Because it's like, my dog gets like special snacks that are like dehydrated fish or something. It's like not grocery. None of my animals' food get bought at a grocery store. It's all like specialty stuff.
Okay, wait. My dad, loves animals. He loves horses. He had a horse. But have I told you this about him?
Mm-mm.
He finds the way that people nowadays like treat pets as the funniest thing he's ever seen.
The coddling and the daintiness in which we handle them now.
Yeah, like how they are kind of like children to our generation.
Yeah, right.
We went for a walk in the park near my house, and there's a dog park. And he was like, "What is this? I don't understand." And I was like, "Oh, that's a dog park." And he's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, people with dogs come and bring their dogs to the park. I'm not fucking with you, started laughing.
That's so funny.
He's like, "So there's tax money being spent on a park for a dog?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like, I guess it's a place where people," he's like, "That's the funniest thing. So they shit in here?" I'm like, and it's funny because it's like, the horse represents this. The horse was something that was like, we use this for ourselves. We use this animal. And now the animals use us. Like, now it's like,
totally.
They need us. We don't need to domesticate.
Yeah, so many breeds of dogs were used to like herd cattle, and we don't necessarily need to do that in our day-to-day anymore, but we do keep them around the house, and they get bored if you don't use them for their intended purpose. So instead you buy a bunch of toys for them to keep them entertained, and there's this weird compensation you have to do for not just like living a hardier lifestyle that uses them.
You know how dogs first started getting domesticated, which is like, it first was wolves, and they would be attracted to the smell of whatever cavemen, I don't know, Homo sapiens were cooking with
You sure you don't want to Google a little bit of this before you get in there?
I'm going to talk out of my ass. Like, I probably have no idea what I'm saying. But I know that this is true. Like, they would be attracted to like the fires and whatever food was being cooked. And they'd come, and then the dogs that had the best temperament and would be able to connect with the human beings had an advantage. And so the better temperament you had with human beings, the more you would get fed. And then it sort of like created this relationship with a human. Now I'm thinking, I'm a human being and I see a majestic fucking horse.
Okay.
Who's the first guy that was like, I'm going to ride that?
Well, I mean, a brave, the alcohol wasn't created yet.
I don't know. Maybe it was, bro. Fermentation? Like, you just eat some like shitty little berries? I don't know.
You're just drunk as a skunk?
A girl can dream.
I don't know. Someone daring. We would have to actually do our history research before we talk out of our butt.
I think so much of humanity's big steps were made by a person who was fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah. Someone that was daring that said, I don't know, let's fucking find out. And then they found out.
Yeah. Fuck around and find out.
Fuck around and find out. That's a motto.
It is.
Hey, what does any of this have to do with the pony?
Well,
I think we're all fucking sick of talking about the pony is the problem, but the pony is the word.
Well, okay. Think about pony in like the most recent vernacular, and I'd say Pink Pony Club by Chappell Roan.
Okay, now that's pop culture, so I don't know it very well.
Okay, Chappell Roan is, I think my favorite new artist. I mean, I love Doechii, but I really, really, really like Chappell Roan. I loved her latest album, although Pink Pony Club wasn't in the album. I think Pink Pony Club, and the fact that there's a lot of bars that have the name Pony. Including, there's a very famous bar in Manhattan called the Pony Bar. I think that there's something about the word pony that goes also beyond the little kid symbolism of it.
Yeah.
Like a new world. Like, you're going to the Pink Pony Club, you're going to the Pony Bar. There's something like, I don't know, adventurous about it. Am I wrong?
Maybe. I mean, I was wondering how much it was like less adventurous, but more leaning into ironic cutesiness. If I don't have the right answer here, but if I think of like the Pony Club, it feels like, I don't know, a little cutesy versus like the Roadhouse.
I think you're right. I think that there's this trend in pop culture right now where particularly women are taking cutesy and putting power in it. Like Sabrina Carpenter is a really good example of that, is taking what is cutesy, what's Betty Boopy, and being like, yeah, but I'm a fucking badass bitch. So I think there's a reclaiming of pony as something that is strong. There's a pink pony. It's a pink fucking the girliest thing pony, which is girly, and it's a club, and it's like, bitch, I want my dreams to come true. I'm going to the Pink Pony Club.
Does that motivate you? Do you feel empowered?
I think I definitely feel that while I was growing up, I've thought about this a lot, and it's that the feminine was really looked down on and was very subconscious, I think. But like in comparison to now, I remember being like ashamed of like girly things. The girly was seen as not cool.
Interesting. Now that's funny because I always think of it as like, you know, I'm raising a young daughter, and I'm blown away that in 2025, toys and like things that you can purchase for your young kids are still so stereotypically gendered. Mm-hmm. That would make me think that like, oh, you growing up as a girl, you would want to hold on to femininity because everyone around you was doing the same.
Yeah, no, I didn't feel that way. I felt like what was made fun of the most was the feminine.
Interesting.
I don't know who decided ponies were feminine, but like someone at Mattel was like...
Somebody did, because I can't think of a boy who ever asked for a pony for the birthday gift. Going back to the cliche of, I want a pony. That was always like a daddy's little princess gift.
It's like a horse is a man, and then the tiny little version that you look at that like can't really do much is the feminine.
And then the son that wasn't going to amount to anything got the donkey.
No, the son that was going to leave their town and move to New York and follow their dreams of becoming a film director.
Listen, I wasn't getting a donkey. I asked for a car.
I mean, a car. I mean, cars are very much boy things, I think. Like,
did you get a car when you were 16?
I got my grandpa's old car when I was 16.
That's the way.
It was like a 1986. I'm not even exaggerating. I think it was like a 1986 Corolla. That didn't go beyond 40 miles an hour. It couldn't.
Perfect for you.
And it was amazing. I loved that car.
Yeah, you probably ran it to the ground.
Yeah, and it didn't matter. It was great.
Doesn't matter.
I like hit it a bunch of times. I didn't know what I was doing in it. It was like a bumper car.
Yeah. I had a 92 Hyundai XL hatchback. It was this very tiny, very, very tiny, like teal car hatchback that I looked like a proper clown coming out of at all times. It was the smallest car for the biggest high schooler.
That was your pony.
That was my pony.
That was your pony. You said it was a Pontiac?
No, a Hyundai.
Oh, Hyundai. Hyundai.
Hey, Hyundai. Yeah.
Hyundai.
First time I watched like British car shows, and the way that they would say, like, instead of a Nissan 350Z with aluminium.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Was that good? Is that anything?
I don't know.
I told you this would be a short one. We're on fumes right now.
I know, but I like pony. I like the word pony. Let's try and see what other symbolism we can pull out of the word pony.
Okay. Well, there is Ginuwine's song about it.
What?
Are you unfamiliar with Ginuwine's Pony? The club song of a generation?
Wait, I know that you're going to start playing it, and I'm going to know exactly what it is.
Yeah, you play it on your end.
Okay, fine.
Wait, hold on. I gotta confirm that's not R. Kelly.
Oh, God. No, it's Ginuwine.
Thank you.
Can you imagine?
What a game I have to play in my limited pop culture music knowledge. I have to always remember, fuck, is that one an R. Kelly one? Because we don't get to do that anymore.
Oh my God, it's this song. It's the stripper song.
Yeah, the perfect stripper song.
It's such a good song. Oh my God, I love it that it's called Ride It, My Pony. My saddle's waiting. Come on and jump on it. Okay, wait, but this doesn't make any sense.
Why?
He's calling the woman my pony, and he's saying to ride him. So
no. His pony is his massive dick.
Oh.
I believe the pony in this analogy is
so right.
How confident he is in the size of his member.
You know what I love? He wasn't like, my stallion. He's like, no, my penis is a pony.
He's the stallion. There's Stallion Jr.
So I'm sorry. So the stallion was a what are these called? What are these? A Siamese twin with a pony that is merged on.
It's a classic Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito twins scenario.
Perfect. Well, there is a lot of sexuality with a horse. The horse does have this like sexual undertone in a lot of music, in a lot of like My Little Pony. There's literally a subsect of fans called bronies that are
we've talked about the bronies here before.
Yes, that's not. I mean, that's fucking weird. But
but even in traditional horse culture, like the idea of riding horseback is a little bit of a gyrating experience.
Yeah, it's very like sexual. It's kind of sexual.
Again, we've noted they're very muscular animals.
I will never forget. I can't believe I'm going to say this on a podcast.
Oh no.
I had a friend in high school who was fucking crazy. Okay? She's one of those people that I'm like, how is she still alive? I don't understand. Like that. Like she would just moon people when she was riding in your car, and you'd be like, that's not a good idea. Okay? This type of person.
Sure.
One day we were studying in the library, and she was like, hey, can you help me with something? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And I got up and I went towards her laptop. And on her laptop, she had a very graphic scene of what I'll describe as a human and a horse
I'm familiar with this.
engaging in. Kris, I saw it for half a second and I started gagging. I literally, ooh, and the librarian was like, you got to get out of here. I don't know what you guys, I got kicked out of the library, and it like traumatized me for years to the point where like when that image came into my mind, I had to think about something else. And I was like, who the fuck thought like what? And then I'm like, I'm assuming there's like a history behind this. I'm assuming there's bestiality connected to a horse. I mean, horses are beautiful animals.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Well, I don't know that we need to go. You and I are qualified to explore bestiality to its intent, but I
wonder why not.
But you started that preamble, and I already knew the video that you were talking about.
Really? Was it a famous video?
So, maybe we should contextualize, because we do have people that listen to us that are of a younger generation. When the internet was like just getting to the place where you could watch videos on it, it was like a novelty, and one of those novelties formed in like shocking websites that you only talked about in hearsay that you could plug in. Like whitehouse.com was a porn site for a while.
Yeah, I remember.
Or like Lemon Party was a thing. Like, you know about Lemon Party or Goatsy? There were these sorts of things. And there was one of them, and I do not remember the name of it anymore, that was a lady engaging with a horse in a lustful manner that like became that level of like dark web notoriety for a time.
Jesus freaking Christ. I was shocked.
I caveat that that's novel because nowadays I don't think that novelty exists anymore, because we all just know everything is on the internet.
We all know everything is on the internet, but there's no novelty to it in the sense that I think that now that people know it's on the internet, it's kind of, I'm assuming it's harder to access. I've never Googled for this.
No, I'm not. I am on a work machine right now. I don't think I'm going to Google that for you.
Please don't. For your sanity and mine.
Yes. Did you look at horses differently after you discovered that video?
Yeah. Because for me,
what was the difference?
Well, I thought horses.
And be honest.
It's almost like when you realize that when you're a kid and you realize like the adults in your life have had sex, and you're like, ew, oh my God, I can't see you the same way.
Yeah,
like I'm like, oh my God, my parents did that to me. I hate it. That's how I felt with horses.
I remember, that's so funny. You've unlocked a memory for me. In Fort Wayne, Indiana, there was this place called the McMillan Health Center. And it was a place that you went to every year as a field trip, and they did health education, at different grade levels. So like third grade was learning about your body, this and that. Fifth grade was the sex talk at this one place. It was like we shipped everybody from different schools into this one place. And I remember two things about that visit. One is the acknowledgement and awareness for some people that parents having sex is how you have kids. And that awareness happening while we are just looking around and making eye contact with the parent chaperones that came on the field trip. And everybody's just like looking at you like, you fucked? You fucked? You fucked? It's like you had this weird thing. And then the second thing I remember about it is that on a massive 140-inch screen, I watched a birthing video from like the 70s.
Okay. Wow.
Where there was a lot of bush. And it was nature, and that's life. And I'm not here to judge it. I'm just saying in fifth grade, I could have used a smaller screen.
That's actually the biggest screen I think was available at that time.
Yeah, it sure was.
They were like, let's really traumatize these children.
But that is funny when you start thinking about the idea of, like, when you first are learning about sexual interactions, and then you have this realization of, like, oh, that weird looking dad and mom made you, that means you all have done this.
It's such a weird, and now as an adult, you're like, oh, I don't fucking care. But as a kid, it's this like cataclysmic event. There's a before and after. It's BCAD, like after discovering adults be fucking. It's like
That's the way we should actually be aging ourselves. We should have a pre-date and a post-date moment.
It like haunted me. It wasn't like, it was something that like terrified me. I don't know why it was so traumatizing for me. But
yeah, why was it so traumatizing? Like, is it the idea that it dissolved an illusion that you had? Like, were you still very much like the baby gets delivered by the stork?
No, I think it's more like, I'm like, oh, I don't like, oh, adults are like dirty.
Dirt. You already had a sense of shame about it.
Yeah, I mean, I was embarrassed about it. I was like, I'd look at my French teacher and just be like, oh my God, I'm so grossed out. Like, I'm like, oh no, Madame Joseph? What? Like,
Madame Joseph? Je suis sexy?
It's so bizarre that it was such a childish reaction. It almost was as traumatizing as seeing that horse and woman.
Yeah. So you saw the horse, you immediately felt shame for what the human race can't accomplish with themselves.
Correct.
And you were like, oh, these poor horses.
Yeah, and it's funny because like that's unnatural, and that makes sense for me to be repulsed.
Yeah, absolutely. No, biologically, you're inclined to be a little repulsed by that.
But yeah, I was repulsed by the idea of adults like engaging in sexual activity for like a long time in my childhood. It was just like something that gave me a lot of anxiety. I was a very anxious child.
That's so funny to like have it. It sounded like it weighed heavy on you for a while.
Well, I also was very much into animals, and I knew how animals procreated for longer than for longer than how I realized adults did it.
You had the disassociation. You were like, oh yeah, that's how animals, that's how you get puppies. But because your mom doesn't get pregnant and deliver 18 of you, you don't think it has to do with the same.
It's something else. Well, it was also like this moment of like, I came about because my parents really loved each other and wanted a baby.
Yeah.
That's what I had in my head.
Oh,
and
right.
then there's this like layer as a kid where you're like, oh, wait, what? People do this for fun. Like,
right.
It has nothing to do with me. I'm the main character here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see. Now what's dawning on me is that your parents' sex didn't have anything to do with you, and that's upsetting.
I'm like, wait a second. Weren't you like, okay, today we make a Joanna? No, they weren't thinking that.
I don't know how much this came out in your sexual education, but because I was being raised in a fairly conservative area, there was this like acknowledgement of what the thing is, and then immediately like casting of shame onto you to say, and you should never think about this, as like the methodology of which we taught it.
I got sex education in middle school, and it was a prep school in Boston, but it was very liberal.
Yeah.
So my sex talk was like several weeks of like science, but also of counseling. And it was just like, this is a safe space. Anyone can ask anything. Like, if, you know, they didn't promote sex, obviously, but they were also not like, you shouldn't do it. But like and I've heard many women say this, if you are a millennial woman, 99% of your teenage years were people telling you that you were always at the risk of getting pregnant. That, if you got pregnant, it could be the worst thing that has ever happened to you in your life, which is a very difficult thing to turn off when you're like 35. You're like, wait, I was told this would ruin my life. You know what I mean? That's everything I was told. So,
but I do understand now as an adult, I do understand a little bit of that, how stern the warning was of you could get pregnant, because you hear of I have so many friends in my life who have had difficulty getting pregnant in their like 30s, but it's like at 16 you're quite fertile and it'll happen like that, you know. And so it's a little bit, it's just fun. It's just funny that like, oh, I understand the logic now, even though it's the wrong way to be doing this.
It's funny how us as a species, we've evolved to a point where the most ideal time for us to have children is absolutely not the best biological time.
Yeah, biologically, it's like I want you dumb, irresponsible, and like unwilling to make confident choices.
And the love hormone, the obsessive hormone, the one that it's like you fall for someone and you're like, that lasts approximately the amount of time it takes to, one, get pregnant, have the baby, and rear the children together for the first year.
Yeah.
Then that hormone dissipates because
you don't need it anymore.
You don't need it anymore.
No, not at all.
And now we're like, yeah, we've been married for 6 years, and I guess now we're starting to think about. Do you know what I'm saying? It's so different than what we're programmed to do.
Yes, it's like so much of the human experience is about the mind overcoming the biological programming in a lot of ways, and it evolves us into a new thing.
Bro, that's crazy.
And that would have been a much more riveting conversation to have at the top, and instead we talked about ponies.
Bro, I mean, I don't know how we were going to jump from pony to biology versus the mental.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ginuwine.
Thank you, Ginuwine.
And this is how we get demonetized.
Worth it.